What's up, traders? This is Ace Boogie coming to you live and direct. Want to go over a play I did on Friday, CBIO. The setup was shorting the first red day. On Thursday, I had a big update, crazy volume, pushed from the mid fives all the way up to the mid eights. And today, it's gapping down and it's red on the day in the open. So it's more of a overextended gap down play than a first red day. So I want to go over, some of the details of this short trade that I took. All right, so pulling up the dailies, it's important to look at the overall big picture and finding the resistance levels from, previous days and the support levels from previous days so you can, kind of figure out the range of the stock and figure out where you can, you know, take your shot at it. So as you can see, it really had support in the seven. Seven was a previous resistance area. It came up, barely poked its head over seven, came back down, consolidated, grinded back up, and did the same thing, a couple more times. Finally it broke seven, and that's what led to the big continuation that Thursday. But when it did that, it stopped right at, the mid eights, 830, 839. So when it's opening up red, in the pre-market on Friday, I have this mid eights in mind, and I have this $7 level in mind as key areas. So honing in on to what I did, we'll just keep it in the 15-minute chart just to keep it simple. The stock was kind of illiquid compared to yesterday. Traded over 17 million on the previous day. I said yesterday, the previous day, and that Friday, it barely scraped over 2 million shares in volume. So basically, I was shorting in the pre-market on 845. This push up here was risking really the $8 level initially as a smaller risk. As the stock pushed back up, I got shorted some more in the 770s right at the top of the spike of that green candle. Stock came down and, kind of just traded around 750, 760s all the way until the market opened. When the market opened, it had a quick drop to seven. When I say this is quick, this is probably in the 1 minute candle as well, this long wick. And I wasn't able to cover on that first initial drop. It bounced, and I definitely added some more um, back at the mid sevens. But in the next 15 minutes, it broke under that support area, and I basically covered into this weakness right here, here, and here. And I only, covered maybe about 3/5 of my position at that time. So I had still a decent average from, the 760s. I think it was like 761 was my average. Um, so it found support at seven. I was trying to see if it was gonna, break under seven or hold seven, and it held seven nicely. It held seven all day. It's crazy. It held it right here, here, and here. And I was, figuring the more times it taps on seven, the more likely it is to break down. But nonetheless, it bounced. I added some of my short right here, and then I wanted to wait until at least VWAP was crossed before adding some more. And that's what I did. Added some more. I wanted to add it again up here, but I think I was kind of maxed out on the leverage I was allowing myself to use, so I didn't add on that this big bounce. Um, by that time, it was going into midday, and it came back down for some consolidation. So what I was thinking was, okay, boom, I have a decent average. It's trading under the VWAP and it's going into sideways price action. So more than likely, sideways price action with fade and volume usually leads to, a fade and a crack under key support. And that's what I was looking for. Eventually, that's kind of what happened. It came down right here. I didn't cover on this low. I don't think I was looking at the stock right there, but when it came back down and retested and broke under this low right here, that's when I, covered some more shares. By that time, it was almost the 3 o'clock hour, and I wanted to see. It was already weak on the day, trading near that, close to the lows that it was at this morning or that following morning, that previous morning, and I was looking to see if it could, fade some more. Will it get weak into the close? Will it get strong into the close? Are shorts going into the stock to anticipate a crack, or will shorts start to cover to anticipate a squeeze? And what it did was it bounced. It told me that shorts were bailing on this position and this resistance was holding true. So I decided I was going to swing some of my position, but I wanted to lighten up the load a bit. So I did my last cover right in the 740s, just so I wouldn't have so much risk coming into this week. I know it's going to be light volume anyway, and that's basically my trade. So whenever you see stocks that do big moves into resistance, and when I say into resistance, I can support my claim by pulling up the daily chart and zooming out. Look, this is all resistance back here. There's no way that this is going to spike through all of this without some consolidation, without a few red days in between. So, and this is the big move. It's like 50% move. So, once again, key takeaways, you got to find the the previous green days intraday key levels, which happens to be $7 area and the 840 area. That was the range from 7 to 840, 20% range, just about. And you risk off for those areas. You see it opening up red on the day, chances are it's going to close red on the day. If you look at the statistics, if you track the trades, review the setups, stocks that are overextended into resistance that gap down the following day or starts to gap down that following pre-market usually ends up red on the day. But this was the only trade I had, or the only set of trades I had. I think it was a good trade. Hopefully, with the history of this stock, it doesn't trade many consecutive days. Once it has a big move and has that first red day, it usually has multiple red days. Same thing here. So hopefully it comes down nicely and I'm able to swing these last few hundred shares for a couple of days and turn this into a big winner. Well, that was just my trade review on this. Hope you have a good weekend. Merry Christmas.